The next vote was for the sprinkler system. And needless to say, we wouldn't be here today if that vote had not carried. When that vote ended, those 700 people stood up and collected their little plastic-based sprinkler head trophy and left the room. I'm sitting there thinking, is this 8th grade wrestling? These people got this trophy and left. The moderator stood and literally begged these people to stay because there were more important issues to come before the group. But they left and were bused to a casino. So you can say they have an interest in personal safety, family safety, resident safety, fireman safety. If that's the case, they should have stayed for the next vote. And I know I'm a little emotional right now, but quite frankly, I was angry that day because the very next vote was on using a product, and again, please understand, I'm probably not familiar with the terminology, but even I could figure this out. The next vote was to use a product that to me would be similar to drywall, a fire retardant drywall subflooring to be used on the first floor that would slow the burn and help save firemen's lives from going into a building and falling through the floor, which was the testimony of the young, impassioned firefighter the vote before. And these people did not stay. And to me, that was wrong. That was a far more important vote for firemen's safety, in my opinion, than the sprinkler system. To require a sprinkler system in a rural community in areas that are not serviced by public sewer systems and city water, you are adding $5,000 to $10,000 on home construction. Indiana County is has one of the lowest incomes in the state. We have a lot of unemployment. To add an additional expense to home construction basically is not fair. You would be preventing lower and lower middle income people from the American dream of home ownership because they are not going to be able to afford it. And while I was sitting in the back of the room, I was looking at people's faces. My own face. Take a look at this face. This is not a young face. I own my own home. I worked very hard, my husband and I worked very hard to get it, but what about the young person, the person who's making minimum wage? They are never going to have an opportunity for home ownership if there is legislation that adds $5,000 to $10,000 on the home ownership. I'm not opposed to sprinkler systems, absolutely not. But if you can afford it, put it in. My husband made the comment to me Sunday, well, you know, hon, if you have a 30-year mortgage, adding $5,000 to $10,000 to a 30-year mortgage, that's not a lot of money. And I reminded him when we bought our first house, if they would have added $10 or $20 to that loan payment, we would not have been able to buy our house. So I feel you have a responsibility not only to the people in the state of Pennsylvania, but you have a responsibility to what my father always called the little guy.